This is a segment that everyone's tuned into. We record it and play it again when?
On Friday mornings on the Brecky Show.
On Friday
Because it is that good of a segment.
People love it. And historyouthere.com. Here is Harold the H.
Ark.
Harold's going to talk about a plane crash here in Ipswich over 100 years ago. G'day, Harold.
Yes, good morning, Danny. I've got this plane crash, but I've also got a couple of questions that I want to ask the listeners at the end. So please, everyone should be listening closely.
Well, it's all yours, mate.
Yeah, and look, I've been telling you a few stories after my my trek up north, and you might remember after landing in the Torres Strait. In fact, we covered over 600 kilometres by foot, boat and car. In fact, on one occasion, we had to borrow the local vending machine Hi-Ace to get around. Anyway, one of our team members was Peter Tracy from Brassel here in Ipswich, and he's a regular listener to West Bremer Radio. So good morning, Pete.
What's his name?
Now, Peter Tracy at Brassel.
G'day, Pete. Good on you, mate. Peter Tracy. His sister was Tracy Peter.
Yeah, and look, there's a whole heap of other family members that I'm looking into, and I don't know if he's related to Peter or not, because I'm still researching. But I found out that the first pilot to land an aeroplane at a number of Queensland towns was Captain Jack Tracy.
Oh.
Now, Captain Tracy flew for 3 years in the First World War. Back in Australia, he became known as the Flying Picture Show Man.
Right.
That's because he was delivering new movies to towns across Queensland and New South Wales by air.
Oh.
Now, in 1922, he became the first person to land an aeroplane at Brisbane Airport, then known as Eagle Farm.
Right.
That same year, he was also the first to land at loads of other places, including Maleny, Nambour, Maroochydore and Caloundra.
Wow.
In fact, in my research, I even found never-before-published original photographs of Captain Tracy's plane landing at Laidley.
Wow.
Now,
and the Laidley Spring Festival's on today.
Oh, is that right? Well, here's a magnificent piece of Laidley history. I'll post these photos online in the morning.
Yeah.
But this is Captain Tracy's plane landing there 100 years ago.
Wow.
Now, in fact, in 1923, exactly 100 years ago, Captain Tracy caused a huge amount of excitement early one afternoon when he circled his aeroplane over the top of the CBD of Ipswich.
Right.
And that was before he landed in Cribs Paddock at Newtown, just on the south side of Blackstone Road.
Yes.
Now, but Captain Tracy's Queensland career wasn't all a barrel of laughs, because a man had his arm severed off when he walked into the propeller of his plane in Rockhampton. And later he had a crash landing at Coolum. That's on Coolum Beach.
Wow.
Now, Captain Tracy was a big part of aviation history that you've probably never heard of.
No.
And you may also not know that the first aeroplane to land in Ipswich was on the 19th of July, 1920. That's 103 years ago.
Wow.
It was an Avro aeroplane flown by a Captain Roberts.
Oh.
And interestingly, there was a celebrity passenger on board by the name of Herbert Booth. Now, he was the son of William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army.
Wow.
Now, more than 1,000 people crowded the Bundamba racecourse to witness the landing, but due to the unavailability of the then Mayor Ipswich, John Lobb, I don't know what he was doing, the former Mayor had to step in, Edward Easton. And so it was Edward Easton who had the honour of welcoming the first aeroplane to the city. Also of note, I know, like the mayors, they should be stepping up to big events like this, but at least we've got Formula One hanging in the wing, and I don't want you mentioning other Formula Ones here at Ipswich right now. But also of note is the first fatal passenger plane crash in Queensland history, and it happened right here in Ipswich just 2 years later. That was on the 9th of February 1922 when the passenger Alexander McPherson was killed, and the pilot, Mr. Welby, was seriously injured when his Avroplane, they were flying from Toowoomba to Brisbane, it crashed into a paddock at Ripley. Now, Jack Maguire, he was a local dairy farmer, and he just finished milking his cows when he looked up and saw the plane spiralling out of control. The engine had stalled, and the pilot, Welby, was desperately trying to land. But the plane struck a dead blue gum and nose dived straight to the ground.
Wow.
Now, Maguire arrived on the scene about 30 seconds later to find that the pilot Welby was thrown out of the plane, but the passenger McPherson was trapped inside. They got him out, but sadly he died under a tree at Ripley shortly afterwards.
Wow.
Now, for a few weeks afterwards, police were making inquiries, especially regarding instruments and accessories that were stolen from the aeroplane after the crash.
Oh.
They found some in some local houses. Some Ipswich people had gone through and picked them up, but there were still heaps of the things missing. So, Danny, I've got two questions to ask our listeners today. Firstly,
yes.
Should there be a plaque put up in the field at Ripley to mark Queensland's first fatal passenger plane crash?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, I do. I think
I agree. That's significant.
very.
And secondly, where are those missing parts from the planes that the Ipswich people souvenired? They must be in someone's garage or lounge room. It would be great to see them today because they're important pieces of Queensland aviation history. Where are they?
That's a fact. Someone would have them. Someone would have those. So get on to historyouthere.com and see if you can help us find these pieces of the aeroplane.
Yeah, so anyone who had family out at Ripley in the 1920s, and if you've got anything weird looking in the garage or sitting in your lounge room or over the mantelpiece, have a look. If it's part of a 1920s plane, go to historyouthere.com or get on to Danny here at West Brim Radio and let us know because we want to see it. And
you know the bloke who lost his arm with the prop damage in the plane?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Well, it wasn't Jack Newton, if that's who you're thinking of.
No, but he lost his arm. You know the Irish rugby... The Irish rugby coach got in contact with the Ipswich Mayor to find out he wanted to sign up the prop that did the damage to that bloke. Anyhow, that's an oldie but a goodie. Mates, historyouthere.com and keep coming with the ark. We want more arkers on historyouthere.com. Another great story, Harold the H, right here on West Bremer Radio. The time now is 8:20.